Unborn Root Tantra of Great Sky Bodhisattva. Chapter 1, Part 2. The awareness comes to understand that the reality of thusness is without true nature, but it cannot be a river for this. The essence of awareness appears as something. The great wave of practice is to practice anything at all. Because one becomes aware, it is anu. The Maha-yoga itself is the aware understanding that the reality of all dharmas, the inexpressible dimension, is ultimately without true nature. This is knowledge. When one becomes aware of this lack of true nature, one is made to understand that there is no true nature. This is method. The relative reality is when one joins with the Dharmadhatu through the awareness that methods and knowledge are non-dual. All the appearances of gods and goddesses in the relative appear to self-appearing awareness, but are essentially empty. Relative reality is the clarity in appearances' lack of true nature. The view is to perceive the relative and the ultimate as non-dual. The practice is also a non-dual practice. The view of the yoga, the kriya, and others is that the ultimate and the relative are non-dual. They are ultimately inseparable. But everything in the relative is either pure or impure. The view of the vehicle of the Maha-yoga is that they are ultimately inseparable, and also inseparable in the relative. One perceives purity and impurity to be non-dual. This is a private doctrine among yogins. The Maha-yoga of the Maha-yoga is to remain in the state mentioned above. The view is the perception that the ultimate and the relative are non-dual. The practice is also non-dual. The relative appears as gods and goddesses, but their bodies are not generated by the branches of a ceremony. Awareness is clear in an instant, and the true essence of awareness appears in this very clarity. Whatever appears in non-duality appears as the object of awareness. Turning this appearance into a river is the Maha-yoga of the Maha. The yoga of the Maha-yoga is that the awareness understands what has already been mentioned, but is attached and therefore cannot practice it. It is there, but it cannot be practiced. A knife sitting in the water will not cut anything, but you can't put your foot on it. The awareness sees that the ultimate and the relative are non-dual, but cannot apply this. All dharmas without exception are held to be either pure or impure. The ati-yoga of the yoga is when there is understanding, through the smallest of the blessings of what was mentioned above, that the Dharmadhatu is beyond the imagination, and when this understanding becomes a river, one understands this profound domain, through the blessings of being blessed by the expansive Dharmadhatu, the all-good. The arti is to remain without change in this understanding. The indicator of yoga is union with a god. The elucidation of yoga in 9 branches is yoga where indicators appear to be gods. This is clear, but the true yoga is the yoga of reality without indicators. He who applies the 2 indicators has the view and practice of the yoga of applied knowledge. The perception and practice of both relative and ultimate is yoga. The anu-yoga of the yoga is the understanding that there is nothing in the world or among living beings that is not Vajrasattva, the true nature of the bodhicitta. That which is the true nature of awareness, Vajrasattva, is the awareness of the bodhicitta. The understanding of Vajrasattva is the anu-yoga of the yoga. The Maha-yoga of the yoga is the failure to understand the ultimate and the relative. The experiential elements and sense bases all appear as gods and goddesses in the relative. The elements and what is made up of the elements all appear as gods and goddesses. One becomes attached to this appearance and does not practice in the ultimate. One does not understand either ultimate or relative. One is attached to the relative, and the intellect does not dwell on the ultimate. One perceives the awareness to be a god, and is attached to this. This is the Maha-yoga of the yoga. The yoga of the yoga is the elucidation of the body of the god through the 9 branches of ceremony. One does not understand things that have no indicators, and one is attached to the indicators themselves. The intellect dwells on indicators and rejects what is not indicated. One becomes attached to indicators as being gods. This is called the yoga of the yoga. The true Ati Yoga is a rapid, mouth-spoken introduction which uses Vajrasattva of the Great Sky. How is the introductory meaning taught? The Ati Yoga of the Great Perfection is the total base of the bodhicitta, the great pervader, inexhaustible space. It is free from the conventionalities of speech, from the primordial. It is the self-arising Blessed One, the vital essence of vital essences. It is profound, beyond the imagination, not perceived and not intuited. It is free from the conventions of speech. It is a self-arising domain. The vital essence of the ineffable is beyond the imagination. It is an inspiration. There is nothing real about this unembellished true nature. It is unembellished. The Anuyoga of the Ati Yoga is the realm of the pure sky, the essence of spontaneous perfection. It is the inexhaustible Dhamma Dhatu. It is the total base, the all-good mother, the depth without deeds and searching, the spontaneously perfect reality, the non-appearing space, the domain of all the oceans which have no border or center, and it plummets all the world and its living beings to the end. It is said that the vital essence from the primeval is enlightenment. Thoughts of seeking do not move the Dhamma Dhatu. It is magnificent from the primeval, for it is spontaneously realized. The Ati Yoga of the Ati Yoga has precisely the same meaning as is taught above, but is unspoken. The unspeakable depth of the ocean, the unthinkable space of the Bhaga, thusness beyond the imagination, is without thought, and goes beyond the objects of speech. The Mahayoga of the Ati Yoga is the understanding by the awareness in a single instant that the beginningless Dhamma Dhatu, which is all things, goes beyond the boundaries of birth and cessation, and is a non-dual equanimity. It is known in a single instant that the identity of knowledge and methods is the master of methods that has every benefit, that all things are beyond the imagination in total equality, and that their true nature is the basis of equality. The yoga of the Ati Yoga is to remain where the 3 realms and everything made up of the elements is the body of the thus gone one. The 5 aspects of actual enlightenment are perfected in a single moment. The 5 aspects of enlightenment are clear, and one associates with the thus gone ones of the 4 families. One attains actual perfect Buddhahood at the peak of Mount Meru. To be ready to be Vairocana is the yoga of the Ati Yoga. The mind of all sentient beings is called a lord, for it is firm. One meditates that everything is the body of the thus gone one, the 5 actual enlightenments. Then a son of noble family in a single instant, not gradually but at one moment, becomes associated with the thus gone ones. He becomes an actual Buddha at the peak of Mount Meru. To be ready to become Vairocana is the yoga of the Ati Yoga. This teaches the chapter entitled Division of the 25 Views.